Alia Aloha,
Alia.
contributor here on the channel. Please discuss the Shanghai Zootopia accident. You two are fair, and I'm intrigued about your perspectives from Imagineering versus operations to if they should become more restrictive like Universal. Okay, so for those of you at home that are not aware, there was an accident on this new ride over in Shanghai. This is from Scott Goosen. It says here, Shanghai Disney Resort says, quote, Zootopia Hot Pursuit, end quote, will resume operations today, December 5th. All guests are required to comply with the resort's operational guidelines as they experience the attraction. So what happened was a little girl lost her headband. And I guess she jumped out of the vehicle and was like running, or walking through the show scenes or something like that. And she ended up getting hit. And she looked pretty hurt, okay, from the video. I'm not going to play the video here out of respect to the family and everything, but she looks really hurt. And that's, for me, out the gate, Alia, that's the number one concern, is that I hope the little girl is okay, because it looked pretty serious, pretty intense, right? I hope she's okay. Praying for her, and hopefully she makes a speedy recovery. In terms of being more restrictive like Universal, absolutely not. I've seen a lot of arguments, and I respectfully disagree with that. Look, these incidences where people jump out of vehicles is far and few between, okay? I mean, we're talking like, okay, for example, the Small World incident where the dude jumped out of the boat. Has that even ever happened before? Not to my recollection. And if it has, it's been decades probably, right? That ride has been around for 60 years, right? So we're going to overreact, right? We're going to create these overly restrictive ride vehicles because of the mere chance that we'll have a incident every 20 years. It's not worth it. Universal, those ride vehicles are extremely uncomfortable. Okay. They're extremely uncomfortable, and they limit who can actually ride those attractions. They've had a lot of issues with maybe people that are maybe heavier or bigger, can't fit in those vehicles. I recently, back in I think it was February, I was at Universal Hollywood with Wizard and Vash Sky. And Vash and I were in the Secret Life of Pets vehicle. Now, I'm not a big dude, Vash isn't really a big dude either. And we barely fit in that thing, dude. It was extremely uncomfortable, okay? So you're going to ruin the guest experience for millions of people for the one incident every 20 years? It makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I completely agree. And I have to make a mental note here. And for anyone who, works in, Universal, what have you, here's a little tip for you. I'm going to try, I'm going to go balls of the wall on this, but you have to understand something about men that go on these rides. We tend to have something that women do not. And when you have a bar that is coming all the way down and presses up against you, let me tell you, it's not pretty. It doesn't feel good. Okay? So if you... So you have to take that into consideration.
Right.
Because it hurts.
Well, yeah.
And you go on these rides to enjoy yourself and have fun. But how can you when you're so restricted you can't move? And I too went on Secret Life of Pets with Vash Sky, and I too, I'm not a big guy, but holy crap, it's like they push you in like you're going into a space shuttle.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And it's an omni mover.
Well, so you're ruining the guest experience for millions of people who ride this thing because of the rare chance that someone is going to jump out. These occurrences where people are jumping out are so far and few between. It's like overreacting about okay, let's just say you go to the supermarket one day and you come home and you got the flu because someone at the supermarket had the flu. So you're going to say, you know what? I'm never getting the flu again at the supermarket. So from now on, every time I go to the supermarket, I'm going to wear a military gas mask, right? It's an overreaction to something that is pretty rare, and it's every now and then. It's just not necessary, okay?
And another thing too, and I don't mean to sound judgmental or what have you, but it's more so just questioning that if this was a young girl and she is with her parents, and the child is then going to get up, kind of push herself up out of the restraint or what have you.
You don't see your kid
Isn't
trying to
there
climb
enough
over?
time that you're going to see your child getting up out of a moving vehicle before she even jumps out?
Well, and this is the thing that Ollie is kind of addressing here from like the operation standpoint. It's an operational thing because for her to get out of the vehicle, the child must have been on the end seat, I would imagine. I couldn't really tell from the video, but if she was on the end seat, that's a big no-no. From what I understand, they usually put kids in the middle, don't they? On these Disney.
Normally, yeah. If you are to, I guess, a certain age or a certain height, yeah, they prefer the child in the middle between the two adults.
Yeah, so that would be an operational thing. Now, maybe the cast member that were, didn't pick up on that, or maybe they weren't trained properly. But that's an operations thing. It's not a design flaw on the ride.
Well, now does Shanghai? Well, obviously, I guess it doesn't. If she got hit with a vehicle, I wonder why they don't necessarily have. Where if something were to touch down on the ground, it's like an immediate shutdown.
Well, it did shut down, but it wasn't immediate. It took a couple of minutes. It wasn't immediate. Yeah. So unfortunately, but
because I know at Disneyland, I believe, well, our good friend Mindy, she was on the Haunted Mansion. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but if she can clarify that I guess it was during Halloween time and she was dressed up and part of her dress was hanging off out of the Doom buggy. And just because it hit one of the sensors, it completely shut down the whole entire ride immediately.
Yeah. No, and that's good. I mean, that's good. Those systems are in place, but you got to look. No ride vehicle is ever going to be 100%, but you have to balance things out too, right? Like you can buckle someone in to the point where they can't move and they're totally safe. But is that a good experience for the guests though, right? You have to balance that. See, that's one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of Universal stuff. I'll be honest. I don't go on Forbidden Journey because I go in that ride and I feel like I'm being crammed into a locker. It's uncomfortable. It's a great ride, and it's a shame I can't enjoy it because you're like this, where you got this, and then the fucking wall. It's
the thing, OG. It's the thing.
It's a thing and the other thing, and it's just too much. That's the thing with Universal. They gotta balance it a little better. Safety, yes, comes first, but you have to factor in the guest experience too, though.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to take the guests, into consideration of how they can handle. So I say out there to all you parents or guardians, just watch your kids. Don't be under the assumption that your child may or may not get up at any given time out of a ride. A child might become scared in a part of a ride and start to panic. You have to keep a good eye and monitor your child while still enjoying the ride at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Because luckily, this girl, obviously she got injured, and hopefully she does get a speedy recovery, but thank God nothing actually even more serious didn't occur.
Yeah, and that's the first, like, I want to emphasize that, like, the girl's condition, her health is number one, and I hope that she makes a full recovery. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible to hear what happened, and it didn't look good. I'm telling you, it was upsetting to even watch. So I praying for the family, praying for the little girl. I hope she makes a full recovery.